Hey boys and girls. First of all, I missed you guys. Second of all, I hope you had a great break. Third, it's time for Science with Miss Jerko. So in science for the next few weeks, we're actually going to be talking about the Earth. And specifically how it can change over time. So there are some ways the Earth can change where it happens really, really quick, like an earthquake or some sort of natural disaster. But we're going to start talking about ways that the Earth can change gradually. So that means it changes really slow over time. All right, and so for this video, you're not going to see my face a whole bunch because I'm going to be showing you some other videos and some pictures so that you can kind of, see it and visualize it a little bit better. The three words that we're going to focus on today are weathering, erosion, and deposition. So all of those images that I just showed you, they're really cool, right? So they're all formed by some type of weathering, erosion, or deposition. So now let's get into the definition of each of them. The first word we're going to talk about is weathering, which is the breaking down of rock into smaller pieces. Key words here are breaking down. Now this is usually done by wind, water, ice, or plant roots. So now I'm going to show you a few pictures of exactly that. First, we have a picture of a rock that it looks like a tree was growing maybe beside it, but the roots have gotten so large that it's actually the roots are starting to grow down in between the rock and kind of break it apart. All right, so this is an example of how plant roots can cause weathering. This next picture shows how ice can cause weathering. So I think this is really interesting because what happens is that when water freezes in between, cracks in a rock, it will start to expand or get bigger. And so what do you think will happen? Well, the cracks in the rock will also get bigger. This image here is showing how water can cause weathering. So this is really neat because you can kind of see how the water has broken down the rock and created like little pathways. So notice the thing that is moving here is the water and not the rock. That's really important to know the difference between erosion and weathering. So before we get into what erosion is, it's really important that the takeaway from weathering is that you know that what is moving in that process is the wind or the water or the ice or the roots. The rock itself is not moving, it's just being broken down by those things. All right, so with erosion, the definition is the process in which water, wind, ice, or gravity move pieces of rock and soil. So you notice that the difference between those two things is that erosion is actually moving the rock, while weathering just breaks it down in its spot. Now, please listen to this video explaining the differences between weathering and erosion.
Weathering and erosion are natural processes that change rock at or near Earth's surface. Weathering slowly breaks apart or changes rock at its location. It gradually wears away a rock formation, such as a cliff or a boulder. Erosion, on the other hand, involves the transportation of broken rock away from its original location. The movement of the broken rock can gradually change the shape of the land over which it travels. When the broken rock is finally deposited in a new location, a new landform, such as a sand dune, may form. Together, weathering and erosion contribute to the breaking down and rebuilding of landforms on Earth's surface over long periods of time.
The last word we're going to talk about today is deposition, which is the dropping of sediment by wind, water, or ice. The most important word here is dropping. The word sediment is just little tiny pieces of rocks that have mostly been broken down by erosion or weathering. One of the most prominent landforms that are created by deposition are sand dunes. So what I want you to take away from this video is three things. Weathering breaks it, erosion takes it, and deposition drops it. This week and a little bit of next week, we will be talking more about these three things. We will see some more cool videos and some more pictures and do an experiment.